Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 49 of my Agrarian Skies Hardcore Quest Let's Play. This game pack by Jadedcat is available on the Feed the Bees launcher. Last time, I did a whole bunch of work on bees, and I got myself some majestic princesses, or majestic bees, working on producing royal jelly for me, which is awesome. This time, I was planning on doing something cosmetic to give them a new home, but that's taking a little bit more in the way of technical details than I expected. I've got some fun plans. You'll see the next cosmetic episode sometime in the next couple of days, but for right now, it's time to get back to more questing. So, first off, you'll notice that I have completed the lettuce quest. Everything has finished. Now I'm going to claim my reward, which gets me a heart, a free hoe of growth, which is awesome. Well, not exactly free, and an epic reward bag. So that's 84 lives, a potion of flight, yay, and the hoe of growth, which the great thing about the hoe of growth, it almost always gets the repair enchant. I don't think it can even get any other enchants, so I'm just going to toss it in the auto enchanter to make my life a little easier. Then I'll have repair and I can copy it among my books if I so choose. You'll notice, if you take a look over here, that my big reactor has been slightly modified. I have the smashers down here collecting snow off of that cable and off of that smasher. This is because I noticed that my reactor was running funny lately, and I thought it was because I had updated to the latest version of big reactors with the latest version of the pack. But as it turns out, the sigil of the dome had been screwing with the fluids in here, and they had not been properly repopulating. So instead of getting a over 20k per tick reactor maximum, I had a about 17.6k per tick reactor maximum, because most of this liquid cryothium wasn't here. So I came up here and I refilled the reactor, and then I replaced the top with reactor glass so that I'll be able to easily see what's going on inside of it. Now that I have lettuce complete, the only two food quests left are cloudy with meatballs, and I'm still collecting beef to make that happen, and not so fast food. And I'm going to need a fair bit of bacon to make that happen, 1,000 pork chops. So I'm going to need to just let my farms run a little bit longer. I'm not particularly worried about speeding those along very much because, well, I have a lot of other things that I need to do while I'm waiting for them. So, if I check on my beef supply, I'm at 473 at the moment. That's enough to make all of the steaks that I need to finish off. Where was it? Cloudy with meatballs? I need another 475 steaks, and I think I have a couple in here. I do not, but that's okay. So I'm just going to tell this guy to start cooking steak for me, and that will take quite a bit. Also, for questing, as long as I'm doing a bunch of auto crafting, and for the hoarding, there's one quest for even more storage, and this is a required quest. I need to make a 16 meg storage. And if I take a look at the materials of the 16 meg storage, well, it uses a Terra storage cluster, a bunch of diamonds, and some Fluix dust. And the Terra storage cluster uses a bunch of Giga storage clusters, diamond, Fluix ducts. Each of the Giga storage cluster uses megas. Each of the megas uses kilo. Each of the kilo uses storage clusters. The storage clusters use the diamond chip and glowstone and storage blocks. Basically, that thing requires a ton of resources. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I went through that whole spiel, and I don't think I have anywhere near the kind of quartz that I need. Because I need about 2 Certus quartz and 2 nether quartz per go. Let me pull up the full list of materials and see if I actually can even attempt to make that. So in checking into things, I see that I have everything that I need except the Certus quartz, and I don't have enough dust to make up the difference. I need 8,748 Certus quartz. That will give me something to do in the next bee episode. I need more Certus quartz, and I can make bees that produce those for me. Fantastic. So, even more storage, still out of reach. For the soul sand, well, let's see if the nether rack has finished. That is still ticking up, so my nether quarry is still working. Awesome. However, no nether iridium ore yet. There seems to be a report that nether iridium is simply not spawning and is not able to be found by laser drill. So I have to hope very much that I am wrong about needing nether iridium for the end of it, or that by the time I get there it gets fixed. I'm betting that the latter is much more likely. Soul sand will be a work in progress. I don't believe I have anywhere near enough yet. No, I still have only 2,000. I don't know if this quarry will actually get me the 10,000 that I need in any sort of reasonable rate. Right now it doesn't seem like it is, so maybe I'll set up something different for that. Moving over to go with the flow, here I know that there's a few things that I can get a serious start on. Besides fluid protein, which is at 85% already, thanks to my system downstairs, which is currently grinding mobs into meat, which is just wrong. It's so much wrong. I also have some bee products that I can get started on, as well as ethanol, and I think that's going to be my focus for today. So, step one, I'm going to need to make myself some new machines. To make the ethanol, I'm going to need fermenters and stills, and I'm going to make myself a couple of fermenters. They're pretty easy to make, but I do want to teach you to my system because, you know what? Why has it got to be like that? I do want to teach you to my system because I'm lazy. That's really all there is to it. And it's easier to do that than it is to set it all up manually. And I'm also going to need, well, with a couple fermenters, I'll make, say, 4 stills. Stills are just sturdy casing around redstone. And I'm going to get those set up probably in the basement because I have plenty of room down there that I'm not currently using. What else am I going to need? Well, oh, I never actually grabbed my fermenters out. That would be smart. I'm going to want a bucket of water. You know what? I don't have a constant income of water at the moment, do I? But I'm still going to want to use water for it. It's just going to be a better plan. So I better set up some aqueous accumulators while I'm at it. You can get more efficiency out of using honey or fruit juice or a number of other potential liquids. Thing is, for ethanol, I need 100,000 millibuckets, which is only 100 buckets. To produce ethanol in that particular quantity is fairly simple. The ethanol itself is made in a still. I get 3/10 of a bucket for every bucket of biomass. The biomass is produced in a fermenter, and I'm going to be using just oak saplings for this because I have almost 9,000 of them. If I could find my... You know what? This will be faster to look up just the oak saplings and show usage. So in a fermenter, the oak sapling with just regular water gives 0.25 buckets. And if I do the math on that, every oak sapling is 1/4 of a bucket, and every bucket of biomass is 0.3 buckets of ethanol, meaning that every oak sapling is 0.075 buckets of ethanol. Well, I need 100 buckets of ethanol, so if I divide that by the 0.075, I end up with 13,000 saplings. Well, thing is, I'm already at 8,622, and this oak tree farm over here has not been running all that long. So there's really no good reason not to just set it up with the defaults and let it run for a while I go do other things. So, what am I going to need to do this? Well, I'm going to need to open up the ceiling a bit and find myself, well, let's see. Got my flight potion helping me out. I need to get my AE system coming down here. So I need to find, there we go. There's my covered cable. Awesome. And I can put all this back. So, put more covered cable down. And what am I going to have down here? Well, as I mentioned, I need to get aqueous accumulators set back up. And honestly, I want to have a nice supply of water coming in anyway for future use. So I'm going to grab the 3 of these. And I'm going to grab my bucket of water. And this is now going to live in the basement. Because why not? And you know what? We'll make it this little corner right here. I have 3 aqueous accumulators. And I want to use as little space as possible. If I set them up like this. Not like that. Like this. I only need 3 buckets of water. Then I can use my fluid ducts. There, there, and there. And I can put one there, and boom. Fantastic. And now that's filling up rather quickly, not super rapidly. I'm actually going to move it back one, just because I think it looks a little better there. And I can put my fluid storage bus right back on top of it. Fantastic. Grab my covered cables, set everything back up, and now I have water in my system once again. Now, over here, actually not over here, because I need power for the fermenter and the stills. So I'm going to pull some power down into here through this block right here, just by attaching another cable. Do I not have conduit on me? Oh, it's in my inventory already. Also, I'm a little blind, so that helps, I suppose. There. Alright. So I'll just run the power down the back like that. Set up my 2 fermenters and my stills. Is that going to be an okay layout for the fermenters? I think so. I believe that things are a little better with those these days. But just to be absolutely certain, I will separate them by a block. It'll just make things a little bit cleaner. You know what? I'm actually going to extend this way and have my stills set up in this pattern. And I need fluid ducts running from the fermenter to the stills. And those fluid ducts need to be set to export. And they need to come from the side. Now, inputting into the fermenter, I'm going to need some export buses. 2 of them. And these are going to need to be set to oak sapling. I'm also going to need some water, which the easiest way to get that is I could run a fluid duct. Yeah, that's probably best. I'm going to run a fluid duct from one of my aqueous accumulators right underneath. Fantastic. Have these move stacks to keep everything stocked up and moving a little bit faster. There we go. Excellent. Now I just need something in that area down there, which if I take a look at the fermenter recipe, it tells me I can use compost, fertilizer, or mulch. Fertilizer, as we've seen, is made out of apatite, and I should have more in the system at this point, so that might be the go-to. Just because I don't have a whole lot of other use for it. Yeah, I have 600 apatite, absolutely. My system already knows how to make fertilizer. This is just clearly a win. And I should, yes I can. I can toss the fertilizer into the exact same bus. No problem. Now all I need to do is change the this guy to single items or craft. And now I'm producing biomass rather quickly. So now I need to get this hooked up to the still, which I'm just going to use a pneumatic servo to do. And then I need to supply the stills with power. And I think I'll do that from underneath. Whoops. Awesome. Yeah, we'll go around this side. And now the stills are producing ethanol, slowly but surely. I seem to be producing biomass an awful lot faster than these 4 stills can produce ethanol, but that's quite alright. And because I know exactly how much I need, I'm going to grab a fluid level emitter, and I'm going to tell the fermenters to stop off to stop getting more things once I have my 100 buckets of ethanol. Need 2 of these, please. Oops, that is backwards. And I'm going to need to wait until I have 1 full bucket worth of ethanol in the system. Speaking of getting it into the system, I think the easiest way to go about that is going to be, actually, you know what? Fluid ducts on the top. I believe that this will work. If I'm wrong, I'll find out in a moment. There we go. It's working just fine. All of the ethanol is getting sucked out of that tank just as fast as it can make it. And I'm going to want a fluid interface for this to flow into. And I'm going to set the fluid interface right there because whoops. And then I'm going to turn off my biomass and head upstairs and figure out just how much of a mess I just made. Oh, I didn't have it hooked up to the system yet. It's the only thing that saved me there. Get these 2 servoed. Get them pumping. And hook the fluid interface to the system. Nope, I do lose. Nope, looks like mostly ethanol. Okay. If I head back upstairs and look at my fluid, I do have a little bit of biomass, but that's a simple matter. I can use a fluid export to put that right back into the ethanol. I mean the biomass. Actually, no, I can't because I don't have a full bucket of it. Heh. Okay, well, that's also an easy fix. Just let some of it pour into there for a little bit. That should be enough, I bet. Can you pour directly into? Maybe it can't. That's okay. I know what it can do. It cannot be picked up by shift right clicking. That's what it can do. What it can do is pour into a tank. Whoops. Activated my sword's defensive ability accidentally. Fluid export and fluid duct on the bottom. Just set you to export. Fantastic. Actually, I can set you off of export and get my bucket without having to go back upstairs. That's kind of convenient. And set you to export biomass. Quickly. Export it quickly. And there's all the biomass out of my system. Awesome. Now if I head back upstairs, I can take a look at how much ethanol I have. I am up to 12 buckets already out of the 100 or so that I need. Set my fluid level emitters to 1,100,000. Didn't like that. 100,000. That's 10,000. Wow, that interface is really not pleasant. And then emit when levels are below or equal to limit. Yes, that works. And set you to active with signal. So when I'm below 100 buckets of ethanol, these guys will turn on. And that'll get these guys inputting more oak saplings and fertilizer into the fermenters. Now I don't have nearly enough stills to keep up with the biomass that I am producing. So I'm going to make, well, with 2 fertilizers running full speed, let me look into the math of that, and I'll be back in just a moment. So after some brief thought about it, I realized that I don't actually care if I am keeping up with the production level of the fermenters. I just want to get my ethanol at a reasonably quick clip. So I decided to make 10 more stills because that fit rather neatly into what I was doing down here and left a little bit of a walkway at the end. So I'm going to get all of these hooked up the same way, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do about honey. Back in a mo. So, judging by the rate of consumption at the moment, this was actually overkill, which is perfect for me. I feel that there is no kill that's quite like overkill. So, it's unlikely that these stills will need to work for very long to produce the ethanol that I need. I am already up to 42 out of 100 buckets. Fantastic. Now, for the honey, I'm going to need another machine entire... Whoa. I don't know what I just did. Oh, okay. Interesting. I moused over the flux-infused Omni Wrench and I hit I. I don't even know what that is exactly. Item info on enchantability? That must be some sort of NEI add-on or something that I've just never had use of before. That's pretty fantastic. Flim-flam from open blocks. Okay, sorry about that. Brief distraction. Moving on. I need to make another machine entirely to process my honey into liquid form, which is the squeezer, made with tin, sturdy casing, and glass. And I have already taught my system how to make the squeezer from, I believe, over here I might have one set up. Carpenter. Nope, I was just planning ahead for once. Fantastic. So I'm going to make 2 squeezers because it'll make my life easy. And these will also get set up downstairs. I'm going to... you know what? I can compact them in right here without much trouble. But I think what I want to do, I want to be able to feed them into the same fluid interface. So the easiest way to go about doing that is going to be to move this cable down one. And I can run my fluid duct from the top that way. And over here. Away from these a bit. Gonna need to go one more. Okay. Actually, you know what? We're gonna run it all the way over to the wall because I like that more. I think it's a little bit cleaner that way. And it's not like I don't have the materials to, you know, run things wherever I freaking want them. That was the wrong item entirely, but it'll work. Alright, so fluid ducts, finish those running over here. They're going to take the honey out of the squeezer, so I'm going to set them to export. Except they're going to need to be on a different side, aren't they? In which case, the intelligent thing to do is going to be to run the fluid ducts down to that level and put the power underneath the squeezers. Not because I don't think that I can pull the honey out the top, but because I think I still need to insert into the top. Even with the magic of thermal expansion and applied energistics. So, there we go. To insert into the top, I'm going to grab 2 more export buses. Or I'm going to grab a whole lot more than that. And I'm going to grab some honey. Now, I need 100 buckets of honey. As you can see, each drop of honey, when put through the squeezer, will produce 0.1 buckets. So I need 10 honey per bucket, or 1,000 honey for 100 buckets. I have almost 2,000 honey already. So I am extremely unworried about using up my honey. Each squeezer can hold up to 9 stacks at a time, which is 576. To make the 1,000 buckets, all I need to do is fill each squeezer up once, which is why I'm getting the honey drops set to fill stack mode ahead of time, and then I'm going to connect them, wait for these to fill up all the way, and now I'm just going to disconnect it and wait for it to process. And the fluid, the honey is getting emptied out, put into the interface, running through this fluid duct, which you can occasionally see if you're really watching for it. Now, the only other problem is that squeezing honey has a small chance of producing propolis. With a 5% chance over 576 items, it's not likely I'll produce 64 of them before this runs out, but there's a chance that I might. So I'll have to come back down here and check that again. I don't think it's worth setting up a system to auto-extract the propolis. I've already got 2 over 9 stacks. That's 18. Yeah, I'll be fine. It'll be okay. So, head back upstairs. And I can see I'm already at 5 buckets of honey, 83 buckets of ethanol, have water available, seed oil, pink slime, whole bunch of mob essence still. Can't get rid of the stuff. Everything's good. The final type of fluid that I can make out of my bee-related stuff and forestry are liquid bees, specifically DNA, which gets referred to more frequently as BNA. To make the DNA, I can use the Gendistry DNA extractor, which will give me 500 millibuckets for a princess, not really worth it, or 100 millibuckets for a drone. I don't have quite enough drones yet to be able to do all of that, but I'm producing more all the time because I have all of these apiaries running constantly. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that set up, and I'm going to get that working. Do I have one already? It was the DNA extractor. No, I do not. Oh, you know what? I need to complete the bee quest, which will give me the genetic sampler, the genetic imprinter. It will not give me a DNA extractor. So I'm going to need to make a DNA extractor. Awesome. DNA extractor uses bronze gears, genetics processors, power module, hopper. I, once again, am too lazy to work all of that out manually, so I'm going to teach it to my system. Because that will just take a few clicks instead of a whole bunch of clicks. At this point, these sorts of resources are just not something I'm worried about. Begin. Check my... Oh, I never taught my system how to make a hopper. That's terrible. Why would I do that? There we go. one DNA extractor. Now, this guy I'm going to use a little bit more manually than most of the other ones. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set him up on my power line. And I'm going to toss some... Well, I'm going to toss a hopper on top. Which I don't have a hopper. Huh, well, it's a good thing I taught my system how to make them. Because rather than auto-insert any specific form of bee, I'd rather have a little bit more control than that. So, let's grab common drones and meadows drones, because I have a bunch of those. They go in here, and they will start getting extracted. However, they also need labware. It uses, well, it has a 10% chance to consume labware every time it goes through. Which means I'm burning diamonds to make this stuff. But it also happens at a much higher rate than the alternative, which is the gene pool from extra bees. It's also a fairly quick process, as you can see. Fantastic. It can hold up to 5,000 on its own. I am going to pipe it into a pair of... I thought I had some tanks. Do I not have any tanks? I do not have any tanks. But I can get some tanks. I'm going to pipe it into a pair of resident portable tanks, because that will hold more than the amount that I need. Which is most easily done just like that, because the DNA extractor will happily auto-output into this pipe. Awesome. So now any extra bees I get, I can toss into here, and those genetics labware will honestly probably last more than enough time. Take one last look, see if our... Alright, we have enough ethanol. Those have shut off. The fermenters are still going because, well, the fermenters were still going, but now they've emptied out. So we're going to go upstairs, and we're going to get this quest handed in before we sign off. And go with the flow, ethanol, select task, and, ooh, you know what? I don't have a bucket of ethanol. Oh, yes I do. I still have one. Awesome. Select you. I need that to not be that. It's almost done. Okay. That's okay. Easiest reset I know is to pick it up and put it back down. And boom. Well, that was fast and painless. Fluid protein, set you back up. I'm going to need to go get another bucket of meat. It'd be fantastic if this would finish. One meat bucket. However, it's also very unlikely. I need a lot more. 3% of this quest is just a lot. Because I still need another 30, 40 buckets. Yeah. There we go. Fantastic. Alright. Hand in the ethanol quest. Collect the left-hand reward bag. Gives me 2 lives, which that's a lot for very little effort. And an epic reward bag, which I'm going to go downstairs and be near my inventory chest before I open, because my inventory's a mess. I get 16 purple cloth slabs. That is not epic. I'm sorry. I mean, they're pretty, but I love purple, but that is not epic. All right. So that's going to be all the time that we have for today. Tomorrow may be the aesthetics episode. Like I said, I'm going to make it into a bit of a special, or if not, it's going to be more bees and quest progression. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're enjoying the episode and the series as a whole, please like, comment, thumbs up, let me know. If you're not liking it, please thumbs down. Tell me why. See you next time.